a man has the ability to transform his sexual energy into a creative force. Yeah. You might wonder how, and you might actually wonder why. Well, there's so many reasons why. And I'm going to break those reasons down to you today. So here we go.
Warning! You are now taking a trip onto the Julio Frequency.
Welcome to the Julio Frequency podcast. I'm Julio. And this isn't just a podcast, it's a signal, a spiral of thoughts, the frequency of curiosity. If you're here, then you're already tuned in to something bigger than yourself. You want to put something on and not worry about the next seconds, minutes, or moments in your life. You've come to the right place. Here we are. There you are. Let's freaking go. Sexual energy in men is inside your semen. And that semen can be changed from being a sexual deviant that just wants lust, pleasure, and a vanity filled life. And we can change that energy into a creative one. How can a man transform his sexual energy into creative energy? What exactly do I mean by sexual energy? That energy that makes the world go round. Sexual energy is what built everything. Everything in society was built off of sexual energy. The whole reason why men do what they do is because of sexual energy. That sexual energy is so real, but it does not last forever. That sexual energy can be used. How do we use it? How do we use the sexual energy? How do we use the sexual energy? How do we use it? How is it used up, you mean? We are all walking examples of sexual energy. That one sperm that swam with a million other sperms that made it, that's who we are. We are that sexual energy. People being born, that's how amazing sexual energy is. But you don't have to use it to reproduce people. You don't have to use it to reproduce people. You can use that same sexual energy and channel it towards anything else. Whatever you're working on, a creative project, actual work, anything. Anything where you need motivation, where you need a creative drive. And that's the trick. Well, and that's the key element right there, a creative drive. Are you doing something creative, something with your hands, something artistic? Let's rewind for a moment and not fly off the rails. The sexual energy that men carry inside their nutsack, that same energy that men use to chase women, right? Now, that woman that puts you on a chase, when a woman doesn't have sex with a man right away, that man will put so much effort into trying to sleep with that woman. That will be his whole premise. If a man decides that he wants to sleep with a woman, oh, trust me. Oh, trust me. That will be his entire life until that moment happens. And that's the key part of that statement. Until that moment happens, there is the hack, so to speak. when the man finally gets that woman and has his way. And I don't want to sound, I hope that doesn't sound chauvinistic or insensitive. I don't mean it that way. I mean when people get together and when the man finally sleeps with the woman that he is courting after there is a consensual agreement between them, okay? That sexual energy was what pushed them in that direction. The getting someone flowers, the taking them out. When a man meets a woman, notice there's a different energy involved before you have sex. We all know this. It's so obvious. Why is that? Well, that energy is pulsating right down here, okay? We got this energy pulsating in our balls, just trembling, and that tremble, that pulsating energy goes to our brain and it makes our brain think of shit to where it's like romance, so to speak. Women love romance. Some men like it, but romance is a female thing. It's a feminine thing, and men provide the romance in their mind through the motivation of sex. Okay? Stay with me, okay? Stay with me. I'm about to give you the juice. So, that motivation for sex in a man is what carries his interest. It's what carries his energy. It's what carries his motivation. It gives him ideas. It gives him a motivation. I said motivation twice. It gives him the feeling of presence, being around this person, being around this woman that he hasn't had sex with. That energy is real. That energy pushes him. That energy gets him up early in the morning and has him jogging, okay, and going to the gym. That way he can look good naked when that moment finally comes. Do you hear what I'm trying to say? So, energy geared towards sex, the energy that motivates sex, is possibly the second strongest energy in the world. The first one being the fear of death. But that energy of sexual interest, that's the energy that builds fucking civilizations, okay? That's the shit that gets buildings made. That's the shit that makes rich men paid, all right? Why do rich men get paid? Because they want something to be by their side all the time. The one thing I noticed is men that have a foundation, men that have money, so to speak, they have no problem in the field of dating. And there's a reason why. So that energy, that same sexual energy that men put in to finally have that moment with the woman that they've been courting, the woman that they've recently met, the woman that they haven't had sex with. Okay, let's stay on that. That energy is so strong. The minute that that man has sex and he climaxes, okay, you can have sex, not climax. We'll get into that in a little bit. But the minute that he climaxes, all of that sexual interest just shot out his nutsack and went wherever it landed when that shit left his balls. Okay? Whether on the sheets or on his hand or inside a vagina. There goes the sexual interest. There goes the ideas. There goes that push. There goes that drive to create a civilization. The minute a man busts a nut, he wants to go to sleep. He is done. Okay? He is done probably for a good 24 hours, I'd say. Okay? Don't get me wrong. Doesn't mean he can't move. Doesn't mean he can't walk. But every single time a man busts a good nut, don't rely on him 100% for at least 24 hours. That man needs to revive. He needs to revive his interest in life itself, because the minute that that nut gets busts, it's over for the majority of men. That's why you hear about sperm retention. What is sperm retention? Sperm retention. It sounds like a group for non-ejaculators. Okay. Okay. No. So the whole reason, that thrill of enjoyment, that thrill that men get when they finally climax, it comes with a price. Yeah, that price is the price of creation, the price of motivation, the price of creativity if you needed to be in a creative state. If you go without climaxing for a good amount of time, you keep that energy within you. If you go without busting a nut to be here, okay?
So
When you go without busting nuts, okay, that nut that did not bust becomes a powerful force within you. It turns you into a motivated, inspired, unstoppable force. Trust me and try it. Okay, if you're out there having a lot of sex and you're wondering why you have no drive, why you feel like you have no purpose in life, stop busting so many nuts. Okay? Stop busting so many nuts. Keep it in you. Keep your sperm to yourself. Keep your sperm to yourself, man. Why are you wasting so much sperm? Why are you wasting your life force? It's your freaking life force. Imagine if you had juice, right? And that juice created people. Well, you do have juice that creates people. It's inside your nutsack, and every single time you climax, you waste it unless you're trying to reproduce. For the most part, I believe the whole purpose of creation, when we were created, these juices were designed specifically to create other people, other humans off of these juices. So it's probably the most potent juice in the world. And when I say juice, I'm talking about semen. Your semen needs to be retained unless you're going to use it to create the human being. Then why use it? I've noticed when I withhold, speaking from experience now, okay? Now we're going into my own personal experience. I normally do withhold my semen, okay? Yeah. Yeah, I don't just let that shit run down the drain or on my bed sack or in my hand, or you know what I mean? Like we don't waste semen in this house. We just don't waste semen in this house. However, I've noticed that the minute that I started to withhold semen, it's been a couple years. It's been a couple years, I'll admit. And for the past couple years, I have not been able to stop creating. I got like 5 YouTube channels. Let's not even get into it. My point being is you have so much drive and so much natural motivation to just live when you keep your sperm in your sack, when you don't ejaculate on a crack. You know what I'm trying to say? You can transform. I don't know if this pertains to women because I don't know what it's like to have a fucking vagina. So I don't know how that would feel. The whole not coming. I don't think it applies the same way, since our semen is the semen of the actual person, I believe, that's swimming. And their body is, I might even try to act like I know what I'm talking about when it comes to the female body, okay? Let's get into something else with that whole frame of mind, with that whole thought process, and back to the semen, keeping the semen in your nuts. Keep the semen in your nuts. How do men transform sexual energy into creative energy? When you stop climaxing, when you keep that sperm to yourself, when you don't climax and keep it, you keep the energy and then you stay motivated. It's going to work well with whoever you're with. Just every single couple or person, whether you're a man or a woman, or a them or a they, just think about the last time. What happened after you busted that nut? What happened to you right after you busted that nut? Did you want to keep going? Did you want to get up and create? Did you want to get up and go for a hike? Did you want to get up and practice karate or something? Did you want to get up and start a revolution? You probably did not get up. After busting a nut, most men are done. They're done. They're done again. They're done for another 24 hours. Do not rely on a man after he's busted a nut. Keep that in mind. This is a what do you call that? This is a man. I'm so like not remembering what you call it when you're broadcasting something to the world. I forgot what it's called when you're broadcasting something to the world and you're saying like how important it is and like stop what you're doing, interrupting every single show. Well, here's that show. Okay. Dear men of the world, all right, you're ruining your lives every single time you bust nut on your wives or bust nuts in general. Every single time you climax, you are diminishing your life force. You are throwing your motivation out the window. You are deleting your purpose as a man. Keep your sperm, keep your semen, keep your white inside where it belongs. Don't get me wrong. When okay, so what your the question is when should a man bust one out? Right? When should a man climax? I did a workshop online, man. And this workshop recommended on the sperm retention subject to bust a nut every 3 times you have sex. So on the third time you have sex, that it's recommended to bust that nut because there's this thing as blue balls. Let's not forget that blue balls exist. You don't be walking around with a blue ball after hearing this fucking podcast. You know what I'm saying? Like, then how the fuck do I feel that this dude got a blue ball after hearing my freaking podcast? Like, no, you didn't hear the whole thing where I mentioned that it's recommended after you have sex 3 times. Well, on the third time, that maybe you should let that shit bust out. Now, I've learned that there is ways where you can climax when you don't fully climax, and it's a fucking game. Trust me, you don't. It's a game. It sometimes works out, sometimes it doesn't. But part of it is obviously stopping at the right time to where you're only getting a certain amount of the climax, and that right there is kind of like playing double dutch as a man. If you know about double dutch, then you totally get that. The timing is everything. The timing is everything. However, it's not that hard to just not climax on every single time that you have sex. All right? For men, all right? Your job is to make her climax. All right? That's your job. That's not the point of this podcast. Okay. This isn't a, you know, lesson on how to make your woman wet, horny, and blasting all over. No, this is more for you on how not to use up your creative energy and how you can transform that same energy that you would have used in your sexual conquest during that doggy style motion where you feel like you gotta just bust that shit out. Well, when you hold that in, when you surrender to the feeling and don't give in, maybe not say surrender, but you're like surrendering to the good side of you on not weakening and delivering this big bucket of semen on the climax. When you do that, trust me. Trust me. Just try it. Just try it. I know it sounds a little crazy. Hold on a second. Let me take a sip of coffee. I know it might sound crazy, but just try it. Have you been busting nuts all your life and wonder why in the world you're not motivated to do jack diddly squat? Well, why don't you try not busting a nut? Regardless, maybe you're single and you jerk off a lot and you literally bust a nut every single time you jerk off. Well, if you're jerking off and if you're single, I'm talking to you too. Stop busting nuts in your hand, okay? Keep it inside. Just don't come, okay? Stay. Don't come. Stay. Yeah. If you don't come and you stay, you'll have a better day. I promise you, every single man listening to this, I promise you, the next time you have sex with your woman, don't come. And watch how much you're going to appreciate her right afterwards, much more than what you did, and what you normally do after you normally do come. I promise you, you're going to be motivated and you're going to want to have sex again. Okay? That's the kicker here, is having sex again with your woman later on in the day. On a Saturday, I need to fuck at least 4 times. Okay? At least 4 times on a Saturday. I worked hard all week. Okay? I need at least 4 fuck fests from my lady, and she knows it, on a Saturday. How am I supposed to do that? How am I supposed to do that if I climax on the first use? Now, don't get me wrong. There are some of you guys out there that are absolute legends. You can bust one out and want to keep going and still be full of drive, still be full of life. Congratulations. You guys are better than me. Okay? But I don't see you guys making the video and showing me how to do this. The best way that a man can transform his sexual energy into creative energy is by not busting a nut when he has sex, by not climaxing, by not ejecting sperm. However, I'm trying to say this as many ways as possible. The cool way, the proper way, and the semi-proper way, okay? That way you can understand where I'm trying to come here. I mean, I'm not coming here, but where I'm coming from, you know what I mean? No pun intended. These lessons that I'm handing out are for the people that are listening. If you're listening to this message, it's not by accident. This was meant for you. Take it for what it is. I guarantee you, apply this theory into your life and your life will change. If you If you're searching for your purpose in life, which as a man you should be, and unless you haven't found it yet, then you definitely need to hear this. This will help you find your purpose. Okay? Your purpose in life isn't banging a bunch of women, isn't dating the hottest or being with, just trying to break it down. It's not about women. Most guys get lost in trying to date women without focusing on themselves. Okay. And when you transform that sexual energy that you've been wasting on women, and not saying women are bad. No, no, women are there for when, they're supposed to be there for. There's a time and place and person for everyone. When you slowly start to keep your sexual energy to yourself, that's when you start slowly building more from within. And then that's when you start shifting your energy from being a guy that's out there hungry for attention from the opposite sex into being a guy hungry into building himself up, hungry for the harder tasks, hungry for the challenge in life to help him become a more powerful force on the earth. Ultimately, that should be every man's goal. How can we attain that goal? By busting less nuts. All right? Bust less nuts. Okay? So you're gonna bust less nuts. Bust less nuts. That's all you gotta do. Like, seriously, bust less nuts. And it will take you farther than you've ever gone than from when you were busting nuts. I promise you. I promise you. And I promise all your sons and your sons' sons and your sons' sons' sons. Okay? Tell them all. Heed this message. Every man out there with nuts and dick. This message is for you. And here is my challenge. Okay? Here's my challenge to every single man in the entire world. For the next 2 months, okay, 60 days, I want you to go without busting a nut. Yeah, you heard me. Just go without busting a nut. Go without busting a nut. Don't bust a nut for 60 days, regardless of what you do. The safe word is blue ball. If you have a blue ball, then go bust that nut. I don't condone anything that will cause internal pain. Just don't take the advice from me on a medical standpoint. This is just a hypothetical in the sense of overall, if it feels okay, don't bust a nut for the next 60 days. And then let me know how it goes, because I would love to hear your I'm not busting a nut today story. Every single time that you had a chance to bust a nut and you don't, you win. And I want to hear about it, because every single time we share, we expand that frequency together. Thanks for tuning in to the Julio Frequency podcast. Stay cosmic, stay curious, and keep spiraling forward. Next week, we're going to get into some more astral projection and how I got closer to actually walking on the astral plane. Until then, keep listening to your own frequency.